Hey everyone, Mike the Gaming Dad here and welcome back to the channel. Well, it's finally happened. After over a decade in production, Lordbound, the massive Skyrim mod claiming to contain the biggest main quest you've ever played in Skyrim, has finally soft launched. Now, we may not be getting Elder Scrolls 6 anytime soon, but the Elder Scrolls community continues to thrive and deliver mods to keep us coming back to this brilliant game, and the end of 2025 is no exception with the much anticipated release of Lordbound. So, what is it? Why did it take so long? Should you play it? In this video I'll aim to answer these questions and hopefully interest you enough to bookmark Lordbound for your next Skyrim playthrough. Let's start right at the beginning. What is this mod? Lordbound is a massive unofficial expansion that transports the player to the all-new Valley of Druidak, a war-torn region between Skyrim and High Rock that has been cut off from the outside world for 2 centuries, only recently re-establishing its connection to the outside world. The mod sees you embroiled in a conflict between the Imperial Legion, who wish to open up an old trade route through this region to the High Rock city of Johanna, and a group of orcs holed up in an old mountain fortress. Chief Gorek, leader of the orcs, refuses to surrender his mountain fortress to the Imperial Legion. As the conflict wages on, the native people of Druidak are forced to seek protection within the walls of Highreach, home of the young Lord Halen, but even the last bastion of Druidak is threatened to fall at the hands of a mysterious knight of unknown origin. Whatever the choices are in the end, the fate of the valley rests in the hands of champions both new and old. The mod is safe to say ambitious, with a dense new region 1.5 to 2 times larger than Solstheim. As well as a huge new area of land to explore, we get new cities, multiple smaller settlements, 50 new dungeons, 40 new quests, 20 new creatures, as well as extra weapons, armour, potions, spells and more. All of this adds up to an expected 60 hours of additional adventuring from start to finish. So Lordbound is huge. But even so, why did it take so long to release? Even for a project of this magnitude, over a decade, there must have been hiccups along the way, right? Well, you'd be correct in that assumption. I won't go into too much detail on the timeline, but if you are interested in learning more, I highly recommend reading the updates via the official Lordbound website. On the banner you will find a blog, and then at the bottom of here you can follow the link to the mod database website, where you will find over a decade's worth of updates, and you can learn about the team, their original recruitment drive, watch the first trailers, listen to the soundtracks and follow its development from the very first concept sketches. You'll get far more from reading this blog than I can effectively put into this video. But Lordbound first promised to expand Skyrim way back in 2014 and 15. It was expected that we'd see it released to the public late 2018, effectively making it a 4 to 4 and a bit year project. This ultimately never materialised, and this is explained by the former team lead in the last dev blog before launch. Quote, "Like all modding projects, we've had highs and lows, but there was a time a couple of years ago when, as project lead, I truly did not believe that Lordbound would ever be completed. This was in spite of all the content built during the time of my predecessor, Neshkor, under whose leadership most of the valley and a handful of features were brought to a functional level. The best decision I ever made regarding the mod was when I posted internally about my plan to open source what we had made up to that point. My tenure as team lead had burnt out what energy I had left, and help was too scarce to get things done in a reasonable timeline. That plan initially garnered resigned approval, before a handful of undaunted team members pulled me aside to ask if I really wanted to go through with it, or if I would give them a shot at finishing it. Fast forward to today, and I could not be happier to have trusted Kyria, Raz and the others with Lordbound. Believe me when I say that the road has been harder and bumpier than you think. When a volunteer project of this scale releases, it is nothing short of a small miracle. In the 2 years since that critical moment, they and the rest of the team have gone above and beyond. As with many long-term modding endeavours, it seems Lordbound witnessed several changes of leadership across its development, and the mammoth task of creating such a large-scale mod almost got the better of the team. But the mod has pulled through, and honestly, it's great to see a volunteer project of this size actually release. Countless modding projects over the years like this start with the loftiest of ambitions, and very few actually drag themselves over the finish line. But you said at the start of the video that this is a soft launch. What does that mean? All of this is now in the open for gamers to download, play and enjoy. Think of it as a beta release. The Lordbound team have been very transparent with what is ready and what is not. There is a map here that shows the scale of the world space they have created, and it lists what is complete and in the mod. As for what isn't ready yet, it's primarily the voice acting. As it stands to date at the time of making this video, roughly half of the mod's major characters are voiced, but many NPCs, especially supporting ones, will have incomplete or no voiced dialogue. Because of this, one of the hard requirements for playing this mod is Fus Rodeau. If you aren't familiar with Fus Rodeau, this mod basically enhances support for unvoiced in-game dialogue. I can attest to this in the hours I have roamed this land, as some NPCs have great dialogue, like here.
Officer, Legate Aventus has us here on orders to restore trade routes from Johanna to the Reach.
But then you'll encounter many NPCs like this, and you'll need subtitles enabled so you can read along. There is also a chance the mod will contain bugs. The team have done as much testing and fixing as possible with their small team, but the size of this mod versus their resources mean they haven't been able to test and turn over every stone as rigorously as they'd be happy with. Honestly, for me, it's ran really smoothly so far. I've had the occasional encounter with something that is unfinished, like doors that open but don't go anywhere. On the blog page you can actually listen to some of the new tracks, like For All Our Sins, Heart of Gardale, or Night Sky. Then there were areas of the map I was exploring where nothing played. I'm sure music will fill this eventually. And finally, within Highreach, I encountered an NPC that seemed like he was talking to someone who wasn't there. But by and large, it's ran like a dream so far. So, should you play this mod? I feel like in the grand scheme of this mod's timeline, I've not waited that long for it. I probably first heard about it in 2019, but the development team at the time, or some of the dev team, moved on, got jobs and had less time to be able to work on it, and updates were very scarce. It had that feel of a project that had a long way to go, and I kind of forgot about it. Then it re-emerged probably 18 months ago and it was like, okay, we might actually see Lordbound. As I said earlier, personally I'm so happy that they've managed to get this off the ground, so I can't wait to download it, even as a beta release, and give it a try. I've only played it for maybe 4 hours so far, but just wandering the map gives me confidence that this will be a great mod when it is fully finished. The map is honestly astounding. There are areas that feel like the woods of Falkreath, with stunning scenery and views to take in. Mountainous regions close to the areas of the Reach, and I fought a group called the Ravenheart closely resembling the Reach's forsworn clans. There's an eerie looking swamp more akin to the lands around Hjalmarch, and it was here I encountered some of the terrifying new enemies, like these mounted Draugr and creatures of the swamp. Towards the south I encountered cold tundra and snowy peaks that could be within the Pale or Winterhold. There are Dwemer monuments to discover, and dangerous dungeons to traverse through. These whole areas are handcrafted, and it was obvious to me how much care has gone into the little details within the map. If wandering the lands is familiar to Skyrim, the main settlements are where we see real points of difference. The fortification of Highreach is a sight to behold, with its distinctive purple banners, stonework buildings and markets. There's the beautiful Gardale with its emerald green roofs, fiercely guarded by the orcs of Garshakir. Or the Thalmor stronghold of Skylock Citadel to the south. Even in beta release, there was enough within this mod to impress me and make me look forward for the full release. If you want to wait for that full release, that is absolutely fine. I imagine that will come sometime next year once voice acting has been finished and they've ironed out as many bugs as possible. When it does finally arrive, I'll be doing a full series of this where you, the viewer, can initially vote on who we side with. If you play one new mod next year, I think you should make it this one. I'm Mike the Gaming Dad, and I'll see you next time.